Hi, this is Roy Worley. Welcome to the interview show that brings on guests from all walks of life. Yeah, it's here that they tell their stories and delve a little deeper into their lives to see what got them where they are. So grab a drink, have a seat, and relax, because this is the Leo Effect.
When was the last time a short movie shook your emotions to the core? When was the last time a short movie caused you to rethink everything you stood for? When was the last time a short movie made you proud to be an American? When was the last time you felt the emotion to stand up and cheer after a short movie? The new short movie, I've Got Your Six, written and directed by Bill Foster, one of the industry's newest and fastest climbing directors, will answer all of those questions. Rarely has there been so much packed into a short movie that when you leave, you'll feel more proud of our American military veterans. A movie that was cast only with American military veterans will have you on the edge of your seat, cheering for our veterans and what makes America great. I've Got Your Six will be hitting the film festival scene soon. Be prepared to drop what you're doing and go see this powerful movie when it comes to your area. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Leo Effects. Now, today I am joined by a very special guest. He's got some cool stuff to talk about, and we're gonna hit on a whole lot of different topics. It's kind of a new territory for the show, as I haven't talked to somebody who's kind of dabbled in a little bit of everything in this kind of way. So please allow me to introduce SohoJohnny. How are you, sir?
How are you, Ray? Thank you so much for having me today on your show.
Absolutely, and thank you for coming. It's fantastic to have you. I got some questions for you, as you know, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff that you and I touched on in the pre-recording, so that'll be fun.
That sounds wonderful.
All right, well, kind of rolling right on into this, there's kind of two questions that I want to establish so the listeners kind of get an idea of what's going on here, and that's number one would be, kind of what is it that you do? And the second part of that is, where did SohoJohnny come from?
Well, I think I'll start with ground zero, okay, as the evolution began. I was born in Manhattan, in the Big Apple, New York City, many moons ago. I won't date myself, but I think there'll be a few hints along the way. in a large complex called Stuyvesant Town, Peter Cooper Village. And that's right on 14th Street. And my father was in the trucking business, and a few generations in the trucking business down there. And then my parents, when I still was a young lad, they moved to the boogie down Bronx. And I used to entertain a lot of my friends. Now, we were originally in an apartment, and I found, somewhat of a knack of, even when I was in grammar school, I was kind of the class clown and, entertaining, even though I probably get detention at the time. But I ended up having a lot of my friends come over to my parents' garage because eventually they bought a house in the Bronx. And after school, back in those days, it was classic rock. I would have a strobe light, a black light, and have some a little mini club there. And here I am, probably just graduating grammar school. And the Bronx was very different those days, Ray, different. So I think the irony is that my parents and all my friends' parents, even though they knew we were back there, they were glad that we were back there, not on the streets at that time.
Yeah.
So in those early years, I developed this, this love of just putting smiles on people's faces, and it kind of morphed from that day forward. I've done some DJing, not really super professional DJing, as I got a little bit older and started to throw parties. And I did reunions, and not necessarily like a catering. It was just completely organic, just for the thrill and just for the excitement, and just kind of bringing joy to other people and having a great time myself. So a little bit fast forward, I started doing some mini concerts. I started producing them, and I've done just everything I've done has been just me, just producing it myself, and I've started doing more. And I kept on kicking. Every year I would kick the notch up a little bit more, and since last year I did a concert. It was an all-day festival, and the American Cancer Society is my charity of choice because I lost my dad, and many of us have all been affected by cancer, although, of course, now the coronavirus is is the buzzword right now.
Right.
But American Cancer Society, I was raising money. I did that different benefits, and I ended up pulling off such a great party. It was probably, I think it was August 10th of last year. And the genre of music for this one was actually classic disco and a little bit freestyle music. Okay, it was always upbeat music. I always gravitated towards excitement and energy, and get up and dance type of thing. And I had, I should probably delve into some of the names I had. For those of the audience that knows disco music and that era, I had Tavares, Heat Wave, Harold Melvin's Blue Notes, Double Exposure, Instant Funk, Arnold Carmichael and Radio. I had Leroy Gomez from Santa Esmeralda, Sharon Brown, Fonda Ray, and they were all, they were just loving, came and helped to support me, and we belted out some tunes, and it was great. And it was I also had the privilege of taking what's probably one of the original, right from that period of time, one of the originals, Monty Rock III. Okay, and he was the DJ on the original movie Saturday Night Fever, and he was he was there in support, and we know him from his song Get Dancing, and I love Monty. And you become friends with all the artists, and I treat all the artists like royalty themselves, because it's just a teamwork of just putting on a show and sharing the love, and just taking people away from their lives a little bit. I think that's very, very magical, and the love that you got back. And I've gotten so much love back from doing these charity events that it always puts wind into my sails. Mm-hmm, so I've done several of those as we went along, and I had Danny Terrio. Many of us remember Danny Terrio from Dance Fever. He was was it the 70s and 80s, whatever, equivalent to what maybe Dancing of the Stars is now, okay?
Right.
And he taught John Travolta how to dance, for crying out loud. So he was there in support as well, and we just had a great time. Then some other shows. I did a holiday soiree with Sister Kim Sledge of Sister Sledge, Eben Brown, one of the original lead singers of the Stylistics, Magic Coleman, he's wonderful, from the Drifters, Up on the Roof, and as this has been happening, again, just, without my really searching, because this is really not about me, it's really about, my love of just wanting to of outreach and just giving back and, raising money. And of course, there's always, you put the business aside, you got to pay your bills, right? But,
right.
It's just that connectivity, bringing people together. And, my platform, SohoJohnny, it's no politics. It doesn't matter what it is. Everybody could just go into that zone, away from their lives a little bit, break away from their trials and tribulations, and just have a good time. There's some good concert promoters or producers that do, events like this, but I always try to make it special, where there's an area to dance, an area, and it's almost like a wedding, so to speak. And sometimes like happen to do an all-day festival, so people were traveling from all around and just staying the weekend, and it was a lot of fun.
Cool. Cool.
But we cannot not avoid the 800-pound gorilla in the room with everybody as to what we're doing now, what we're going through now, I should say, and that's of course we know the coronavirus. So one of the things that I've been advocating, okay, and by the way, I've been doing some acting that we'll get into. We'll talk about in a minute, whatever. And again, just been blessed to have the opportunities. And I'm recording myself. I'm recording myself and about to release a few things and collaborating with some great people. That's one of the secret sauce, is when you have people around you, really good people, and I've been very, very blessed in having that.
Absolutely.
But the one thing that comes to mind that I just want to put out there to your audience is we're talking about social distancing, and it's a necessary. But I've been promoting social distancing is not social isolation. As a matter of fact, it's the reverse. It's times like this that we must outreach and touch somebody. Now, maybe we can't do it physically. You just can't play touch football with your friends, or you just can't go to shopping with your girlfriend and be in close proximity right now temporarily. But it's so important to communicate. We have a communication like none, like the technology today. You could call somebody or just, Skype somebody across the world, right? So, I've been encouraging people and, the people that I know, and just say, take your phone book or whatever and start from the people that are closest to you, the people that are the most distant, and just get on the phone and just say, hey, how are you? Haven't spoken to you in a while. How you doing? And maybe crack a joke, make them smile. Okay, it's so important because we're social creatures to continue to do that, and also, just to spread goodwill. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's the history of mankind that we go through trials and tribulations. This is not the first time. There was an interview with an elderly gentleman that lived through the Spanish flu of 1918. And he said, honestly, it took a good 4 years for people to start to get back to normal. Okay, and, entertainment, of course, is something that is somewhat half frozen now, like everything else as far as getting large gatherings. But I think it's very, very important for us to remember that, there's a need to laugh, there's a need to be entertained, and there's just different manifestations, and definitely, it definitely equates to unity and outreach. And that's a big part of who I am and what I've tried to accomplish with my SohoJohnny. Mm-hmm. But again, it's not about me, Ray. This is not about me. It's about it's about the journey for all of us. It's about I have a lot of artists that have just been approaching me, and they're coming kind of working out arrangements, and people like Star Hansen and Davis. He's a freestyle artist. The Hungry for Your Love was. And many people know him. He's now multi-platinum, and I ended up he's releasing a movie that he ended up playing a part with sometime soon. Where actually, hilariously, I played a psychopath.
Oh.
And it's called The Order, and recording some, and we're doing some duets and with him and a few other artists, and I'm going to be. Well, I've been collaborating with a gentleman that. Many of your audience would resonate with the name Scott Page. He's a wonderful man, very extremely talented producer in his own right. He's done a lot of charity work that I've supported him in L.A. For instance, he did the Watts Conservatory, which is and raised money for underprivileged children for music education in a very, very bad area of L.A. because he lives in L.A. And he just did a concert not too long ago. So we joined forces, and we palled up, and we're working on a very, very significant major project right now. We're going to take it worldwide. It's a lot of the key words that I just talked about, and a lot of these artists that we have relationship with, which is kind of how could I phrase it? Something like a department store type of thing, but that we just have all different types of music, and we're doing mashups, and we've got, as I said earlier, Don Kirshner's concert series, and we're taking it on the road sometime soon. And, one good thing, you always try to look for the light. You try to look for the good in something that, it's tragic what's happening now with the coronavirus, but, there's nothing we could do about it, so we always try, it's important to remain as positive and say, what good can we salvage of that? And by staying at home, I think it's important for everyone to structure their days, even though you're home, as if you're working or as if it's a regular day. You wake up at a certain time, you do your push-ups, you do some exercise, a certain amount of time in front of the computer, you work, you do some shopping and some family time, and keep it structured, okay? And it's a great time to plan projects, so that's what we've been doing.
Cool. When you're setting up these different soirees and benefits and things like that, what do you find to be the hardest obstacle?
That's an excellent question. When people attend a concert or a show, they're there to be entertained and everything, but a lot of people don't realize the amount of work that goes into it. Everything has to be timed. You have to have a certain arrangement with each of the artists, and you've got to do your sound checks, and you mute your sound engineers, and I'm somewhat of a perfectionist because I just want everything to go right. I just want, it's like a portrait for me, every single person that's there that blesses me by helping me and supporting me or performing or the DJ, whatever it is like another stroke of the brush on the canvas and the portrait that we're making, which is the production for that night. And it's by coming together and everyone having a stroke on that painting that you make something of beauty. You do something philanthropic. I always give a piece. I make sure that the thing I'll be doing for something for the coronavirus. As soon as we get to a point where we could have a show again, it's in the works. And so the hardest thing is probably the organization and working on a timeline and getting the word out and all that. And listen, the more this happens, the more it's just I have people constantly approaching, when's your next show? When you're doing this? Or we want to hear what you have to say, or if you're going to, I'm still writing my own music, and like with Scott Page, I'm coming out. I'm the male vocalist of a tribute song that's coming out sometime soon. It's just some beautiful words. I mean, there's so much of a beautiful library of tribute songs out there that we could pick from, and some of my own originals are coming out as well. And it just emanates from a passion, Ray. It's a passion. It's a passion of life. One of the sayings that I always end any of my written correspondence, it's on my website, SohoJohnny.com, is, every day is a blessing and a gift. And, if everybody would try to wake up and just keep that in the back of our minds, no matter what we are, what we do, there's always somebody less fortunate, right? So, and we just start our days that way. We'll just make the days go by a little bit better. And as we interact with people, it could be a stranger, just say something nice, just be courteous, put a smile on someone else's face. It's so simple. It's so simple because it's humanity. Okay. I don't want to delve into religion because SohoJohnny is not, everybody is entitled to their beliefs. And even if those people that don't believe in religion, those atheists, these principles that I'm talking about, it's just common sense humanity, right? So, it's brotherhood, sisterhood, and just making the best of what we have. And laughter, entertainment, it's contagious, okay? And, it multiplies. And when you reach out and you have that support, somebody that really cares.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. With all the people that reach out to you and want to do collaborations and people that need these benefits organized and things like that, have you ever had to turn any down, or how do you choose which ones to do?
It's, sometimes I have to turn down because my last shows I had to turn some people down because, there's only a certain amount of time you could fit everyone in, right? And how many songs, how long a certain track takes for a couple of songs, or if you have a band, as long as they're, sincere and talented and we come to an arrangement, if it was up to me, I'd have everybody, but, it's all a matter of time. It's just time management, okay? And you try to pick a common theme for that show, right? It would be what's kind of genre of music, and the larger project that I'm working on. I guess you want to call it a variety show. It's going to have comedy as well, and I'm even doing a comic book now. So,
oh wow,
I'm it's a lot, and you know what? I'm blessed. Like everything, it's a challenge, but I'm blessed because, I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference. The thing that really matters, nobody lives forever. We're all on our journey, is that when we leave this earthly plane, it's not about money. It's not about any of that. It's just, the measure of all the people, and I'm not talking about somebody that just has a job of writing your epitaph. It's just people that really sincerely cared about you and said he was a good guy. I worked with him. He had ethics, and and people that really loved you and cared and say nice things sincerely from the heart. Those are the things when we go that are going to elevate us. Okay, those are the things that really count. So that's the gasoline in my tank. Putting the business aside. Okay, having a great time. I want people to have a great time. Whether I'm singing or doing recording my own music, or I'm delving into acting. I didn't expect to get involved with acting, but I'm getting more and more offers, and I'm just kind of putting a little bit on the side now because it's only so much you can do at one time. But it's fun. It's a journey, and if it's something that makes sense, and if you make a difference out there, and you're having a good time, and people are laughing, he who sings prays twice. So, and I'm so fortunate to have the the ability to do it and the drive to do it, and it just continues to propel me forward.
Yeah, sounds like you're going for like an ultimate entertainer.
I only try to dabble in everything, and I put my best foot forward. I put my best. I never thought I would play a psychopath, right? But I just kind of, in acting, you kind of wrench something that's inside you, well, not really inside you, but you kind of wrench, and you try to become somebody that you actually become that person. You don't think, you're not acting. Part of the secret of successful acting is that you're not thinking that I have to rehearse this role or I got to just practice these words. You have to think and really almost hypnotize yourself that you are that person. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you're entertaining or if you're singing, that positive energy, that connectivity with the audience, that high, if you will, it's so beautiful. And if you're feeling good because you're doing something good, and you're enjoying what you're doing, and you're bringing joy to other people, I think it's wonderful, and it's so important. And the times that we're living through now, it's probably more important than ever. Now, granted, we're not doing live shows right now, but a lot of streaming. We've got some. We're going to be doing a significant amount of streaming very, very soon, especially working with Scott and what he's doing. Scott has a company called Think Experience, and that's a lot of shows that he does in L.A. and abroad as well.
Right. And that's so fantastic that you're willing to, even during these times, you're willing to bring entertainment to people. And, everybody who's kind of sequestered away will have something to keep themselves entertained when the boredom sets in. So that's amazing of you.
Well, I was thinking of, I try to think out of the box. A lot of my background, like I said earlier before, I have several generations going back to my grandfather, probably over 100 years ago in Soho, true stories where they were working and just poor immigrants coming from Italy. But over the years, the trucking business and we had a real estate. I started a real estate business in the early '80s, and more often having up some properties in the family that I own. And I started a pop-up event company as well. Okay, I mean we rent long-term spaces as well. And, I've done that under PEP Real Estate, PEPrealestate.com, spelled out. And that was another thing that kind of tied in to, the growth within me of entertainment, because I was kind of like a lot of times hosting somebody else's event. Not really like a catering hall, I wasn't looking to do that, but just being the accidental tourist of being involved and providing spaces for movie shoots, or whether it be a pop-up, 6-month pop-up from a fashion company like Laura Ashley or Chanel, or dealing with special events with celebrities. One time I had Yoko Ono do a fundraiser in one of my places.
Oh, cool.
So that I think I would be remiss, because I'm just thinking back to your other question. That was another thing that kind of contributed to where I am now, just kind of being on the skirts there. And of course, the names, I chose SohoJohnny because that was my nickname for so many years, being down and having an office. I still have my office in Soho, my main office. But
that's fair.
So I've been blessed.
With everything that you've been doing and that you have done, just, you're kind of the quintessential everyman. Like, you got your hand in everything. Do you have time for, like, just hobbies, like a time for yourself?
I was kind of a nerd in school, but I shouldn't really say that. Just go back. I was a nerd. Like I was on the honor roll when I was a kid.
Okay.
But then, back in the boogie down Bronx, I also was in a gang.
Oh, all right.
At
then.
night, you talk about duality, right? I mean, I wasn't really a tough guy, but that was the thing. Like in the '70s, in the Bronx, right? Everybody kind of belonged, and so. No, there's that old saying, a jack of all trades, master of none. Mm-hmm. Realistic in what I'm doing, okay? And I always am heartfelt and do give it my absolute best. I feel, I'm doing it for the journey and the fun, okay, and I'm out of it. And, I'm touching a lot of different spaces. But I think, in the big picture, certainly some of the songs that are coming out that I'm recording now, and this is not about me, I'm talking about myself. It's I want to make this perfectly clear. The drive I have inside me is not, just to become popular or make money, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you get a certain amount of popularity, and there's the finance behind it and everything. But believe it or not, that's not really my main focal point. Everything falls into place as it should. But my focal point is what I've been saying all throughout this interview. The focal point is that connection and making sure there's something good about it and something so important about it, that outreach.
Right.
For me, it's something that is so important. So I feel, organically, all these other things are happening anyway. The name is getting more out there. The production company, and now this major movement that I'm calling it a movement. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a little bit presumptuous of me. But I do not believe so, because no matter what, I'm one of those people, and I guess maybe it's because of the love that I get back from other people that has driven me, these people, cancer survivors or whatever, that there's certain things we can't control in our lives or what's going around, but we could control a little bit of our piece and what we contribute, a little bit that we could do, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And this is how I'm doing it. And if I could just reach more people and create, entertain and smiles and, take it on the road. I've got some great ideas. I mean, listen, I'm the guy that would show up at your house with a bunch of friends and do Christmas caroling in the holidays. Okay, I'm that guy.
Oh, okay. And it's so great that you're willing to do that. It's not for yourself, like you said. We've kind of talked about that the whole interview. This isn't about you. You're doing this to benefit others, and that's so noble.
Well, I think it's important. I mean, if everybody, when I get on shows, and I would tell your listeners that if your listeners, this would be so great if you just keep it in the back of your mind. We get off, just put a smile on someone's face tomorrow. Just remember to do that. If there's one thing that would people will remember from what we're talking about now. And on the sidebar, Ray, I like to put a shout out to you as well, because I think it's wonderful, because you're a light out there for everybody, and you're elevating people, you're entertaining people, and you're putting smile, and you're very uplifting in your show. And I just want to put a shout out to you and thank you for everything and your contribution as well.
Oh, well, I absolutely appreciate that. Very similar vein to you. It's not about the fame or getting recognition or things like that, just trying to bring quality entertainment to the masses.
That's the bottom line, and it's a wonderful thing. And
Absolutely.
it's more and more important as we go along.
Right. With these few minutes that we have left in the show, I'd like to take a second to let you recap your different social medias and your websites that the listeners can go to follow along with your stuff, and maybe even try and help be part of it.
Well, my website right now, it's under construction, but it's SohoJohnny.com, SohoJohnny.com. You could drop me a line, a suggestion, or just say hello, John, JOHN, at SohoJohnny.com. The Facebook is SohoJohnny LLC. I have a personal page, John SohoJohnny Pasquale, but we have to do a second page because, you get counted out. There's only so many, I think 5,000 a page, so we've got some more pages coming out.
Okay.
And Instagram, I think my Instagram is SohoJohnny LLC at Gmail. But if anybody's listening to this, you want to reach out, any suggestions, join our mailing list at SohoJohnny.com. And see, and that that's we send out email alerts from time to time as to what we're planning, what's going on, or just send an email, stay in touch, say hello, and we welcome any input out from the public, because as I say, we're all in it together.
Absolutely, that was perfect. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you and learning more about what you do. It's been a blast.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, Ray. God bless you. And as I sign off with everything, as I said before, I mean, few things I have on my website. The breadth of love is expressed in the diversity of musical expression. Okay? With love and appreciation always, SohoJohnny. And I thank you, Ray.
Oh, thank you very much. And thank you to all the listeners who tuned in to check this out. Make sure you go to the different social medias and, try your best to follow along because, like John said, there's some big stuff that's coming out and you don't want to miss it. And, Scott Page, I did an interview with him not too long ago, so make sure to go check that one out next because these two are going to be doing some awesome stuff together. Thank you very much, and we will see you all next time.
Thank you.
Oh, now that was an awesome interview. Thanks so much for listening. You all are so great. And don't forget to head to Facebook, Insta, and Twitter and follow The Leo Effects. If you want to hear some comedy and ridiculous voices, check out Shattered Dungeons on YouTube and all other places podcasts can be heard. And you'll hear me voicing crazy characters, usually pretty terribly. So thank you so much. You all are the absolute best. And we will see you all on the next episode.